I remember setting goals to say I want to sign to Cage Warriors. That was a dream come true, and I'm not stopping setting goals until I complete them all, you know. So like I said, like the UFC will happen maybe this year. I think I'll be a world champion this year, you know. I'm pretty confident of that. I think there's a possibility that I'll sign to the UFC this year as well. And then pursue greatness.
That was James Webb, and welcome back to another edition of the Harris Health and Mind podcast. Welcome back to Harris Health and Mind podcast. Super excited about having my guest on today. Known this guy for about 19 years. He is someone who is slightly different probably to most of your typical athletes. He's gone through, I guess, a lot of a transition between younger days of maybe potentially wanting to be a professional footballer and advanced into professional MMA, and he's got big things on the horizon. So welcome, James Webb.
Cheers, Reese boy. Good to be on.
Yeah, it's good to have you in, mate. Super excited. I know obviously we spoke about having you on for a while. For those who don't really know much about yourself, give us a little bit of backstory and tell everyone who you are.
So backstory. Jesus. Well, we all grew up in this town, didn't we?
Yeah.
Well, me and you did. Just like you said, football from a very young age. Played with your brother. And then you sort of come to that realisation like we're going to talk about, I suppose, later on, you know, where you go in life. And for me, football stopped sort of serving a purpose. And I wasn't really enjoying it anymore. And then I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And from there I started to progress. So I then went into kickboxing and fought professional kickboxing. And then started to win titles within the jiu-jitsu community, you know. Started winning like locally, and then won an English title, and then won a British title, and then started to fight MMA. And again, I was a little bit naive with the MMA, never really trained for it like I do now. Trained very differently, and here I am a few years later, knocking people out, submitting people, 14th in Europe ranked. So some exciting times ahead, definitely.
Yeah. Talk about how it was when you were younger. Probably from, I'd say, 7, 8, starting football. What was that transition like from when you was at Co United? Maybe as most of us as young boys probably had that dream of becoming a professional to then sort of getting released from Co United. Was that, like you said, the point where you fell out of love with football, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. That played a big part of it. You know, I remember when I got released, I found it very hard to even want to play again. You know, I remember thinking I wasn't going to play, and then I started just like playing with friends, in a team with my friends. You know, and then it just took a few more years to enjoy it again. And then I thought, I will play some men's football, but then that just like sort of come and gone. And I was out of it. You know. Let's get that over there.
There it is.
That's gonna make some noise.
That's all right.
So just come and gone for me, and once you fall out of love with anything, it's done. It's over, you know. And it'll be the same with fighting. Like I know I'll go on and coach, have my own academies and so on. But as soon as I fall out of love with fighting, that's it. It's over.
Yeah,
you know, it's time to call it a day. It's something that any sports has to be performed at your best, you know. And if you're not giving it your all, whether it be football or fighting, you're not doing the right thing for your team, and in fighting you're probably going to get yourself hurt. So it come to being time to call it a day, get out, and then I found it fairly easy to transition into another sport, you know. Like I started with grappling, like I said, like it was it was more just of an interest to see what it's like, you know. Like I wanted to, you know, everyone as a kid wrestles.
Yeah.
You know, everyone loves that, bundles and
The Rock, Stone Cold, Mankind.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? I remember coming at you playing that.
Probably had a belt or two flying about.
So, look, that's in us all as kids.
Yeah.
And it was just a bit of an interest to see where that could go. And, you know, I didn't plan on this, never, you know, but like, you come from that background where you do, you've worked from a young kid on your fitness and developing some sort of skills, like, and football as well. Like, I don't feel like football is like the most athletic sport. I know you can naturally be fast and agile and this and that, but I believe footballers really are talented footballers. Do you know what I mean? There's no mistake there. I don't think there's any, like, you have to be good at football to play at a good level, don't you?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
If, different assets can help, but I don't believe if you're like naturally fast and strong, if you can't control a football, you're not going to be playing at a top level.
No.
So, but yeah, I feel like the youth and the childhood I had growing up, being sporty. When we was at school, I used to then like enjoy playing other sports, rugby. I wasn't very good at like basketball stuff like that. I wasn't very good at the hand sports actually, which is weird now.
Now you're knocking people
the
out.
hand and eye coordination stuff. Yeah, I wasn't
it.
very good at that, but again, that's just another skill to like learn. But yeah, I believe that helped with coming into another sport. Like transitioning sport to sport is a lot easier than being like a guy who did nothing and then thought, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do this now. And like I said, I never set many targets. Like setting targets was something very new to me. I wish I did it as a kid. I believe if I knew about the stuff I knew now, I could have not necessarily to make it in any of the sports, but you deal with things better, but you also like push yourself harder.
So when you talk about setting targets as a kid, what and you say you wish you would have done it when you was a kid, what would you give to young people starting out, or even ones that are just getting into the sport now? What can you give people tips or tricks to maybe set targets or maybe set visions that they might want to achieve in the future?
It's got to be the work ethic.
Yeah.
Like there's no easy road to success, and there's setbacks. I read a book called Resilience. I say read audiobook. I got hundreds of audiobooks that I listen to. Mindset got like everything to do with like it's life. Like, bad things happen.
Yeah.
And it's how you like get through them. It's not about bouncing back. Bouncing back doesn't exist. Bouncing back means you go back to being that same person that it happened to. So, if if you're trying to start out in a sport and you're young, if you're anything under 16, like you have to know that failure will happen, and rejection will happen, but it's what you do after that, them steps you take, determines the 6 months after, the year after, etc. So you have to be aware of the setbacks, and know that that's part of success. That really is. Like if no one successful didn't have a setback, no one just made it.
Yeah.
No one. There's always like that rejection and that injury, and that your parents don't have the way to get you to train, and like I don't know. There's always some sort of setback, and you have to like find that way through. And also like in the work ethic way, like whatever sport you're in and want to go into, there's always other things you can do to help that. Like, you can play football all day long, but, sometimes it doesn't improve your fitness. Everyone knows, like, if you're just playing football, you just do enough to get by, maybe.
You get fit in that aspect, don't you, of playing a 90-minute game. So if you're finish the season, you have 6 months or 6 weeks or whatever it is if you have an injury, and then you get back to training specifically for football. Like you say, you're going to get to a base fitness to cope with 90 minutes or to cope with 30 minutes when you're first coming back. But if you can introduce different movement techniques or different fighting training tactics or whatever it is.
I do believe like the sort of combat, like let's just say boxing and kickboxing for instance, I feel like those sort of workouts you do in there can transfer to football quite well. Like I think it's good for explosiveness. But it gives you like a steady, what boxing's like. It's a pace. And in football, you almost walk sometimes, But if you're that guy that's constantly like just running and then all of a sudden exploding, like I think it can help. Like I think that other sports do help, and obviously going to the gym, like I know like there's that whole, people go to the gym as chest day Monday.
Yeah.
Fucking
For the ground.
International chest day Monday, but there's so much you can do within the gym. Like my training in the gym is very different to what I used to think was training in the gym, you know. And the training in the gym you do is almost like armor for your sport.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what it is. It's like it's body armor.
We see that in rugby, don't we? For instance, for a lot of people, even you're seeing like the 5'4" guy that his legs are built, his arms built, his neck is built, but they're training specifically to be explosive in whether it's making sure you're strong enough in the scrum, to push off, making sure that you're explosive to obviously get up, run with the ball 50 yards,
and to help with injuries
tackle
as well. Do you know what I mean? Like if you're, you know, like injuries do happen, but if you've got, you know, if let's say you do something to your knee, if your leg's stacked with muscle, it does make things a lot harder, you know. Like the stronger your muscles are, the thicker the ligaments and tendons have to be to deal with it, you know. So like it is like an armor. Like, and don't get me wrong, training for a rugby game would be like very different to football, you know. Like
of course,
be a completely different regime. But I just think, as a youngster, like you need to do as much as you can. So like that extra homework, almost like you go to school and you do homework to get good and get your grades good. That's what you have to do with your sport. You have to do more.
Yeah.
Because without doing more, if you just sort of, unless you're highly talented, and it does happen, you need to put extra work in. You know, like you really do need to put extra work in.
We spoke about this earlier before we came on, and you were speaking about some clients that you do extra work with. What do you think like the difference is between someone who is talented, like you spoke about, to someone who's potentially not as talented but is doing extra? What do you feel like the difference would be when it comes to that crunch time in their particular sport? So it doesn't necessarily have to be MMA, it could be football, boxing, rugby, basketball.
I just feel like you. I mean, we're not even. I'm not. When I help this kid, I help him. It's not even for his fight career, or if he has one or doesn't have one. I just think if he wanted to coach, he's not like he's not athletic, but let's just not say he wasn't actually talented to pick it up. By giving them homework to like sometimes get a technique for me or critique this technique, he's picking up even life skills that he can like see, you know, like, oh, this is right, this is wrong, you know. And I'm not saying that's what, you know, it doesn't get you through life, whatever, but by he gets some sort of understanding. And I think by looking at something and seeing something's wrong, you can then apply it to your game. You know, like naturally talented people, for some reason, they don't need to do anything, they just get it right and this is right, but they don't always make the best coaches, and they can't then give that knowledge on, you know. Like you can't, if you're naturally talented, you can't then pass on talent.
Yeah,
you can't.
Plus, I believe there's always going to be a point in your career, no matter how far your talent has taken you, there's always going to be a point where something extra will have to come into play. So if you've done the extra work, whether it's fitness, whether it's the homework on an opponent, that will always, I believe, will always come in good stead. So if you're someone you're out there and you think, well, I don't necessarily have the talent to get into Cage Warriors or get into UFC or whatever sport you're into, I think put in that extra work, make sure you're doing your homework, whether it's, like you said, technique work, whether it's critiquing, whether it's the extra side of the fitness, put that in and you'll start seeing rewards. But also make sure you're patient with it, because it's not going to be something that comes straight away. Never
comes overnight. Has to be like, definitely right, you have to put the extra work in, but you also have to have the belief. Do you know what I mean? That's what you need, and that's why you need parents as a young age to be telling you can 100%. Do it. You know, like you need that. You can do that. You can do this. You can do that. You know, like I'm sure there's many parents that, and it's not bad parenting, but it probably happens. It's very obviously common now where there'll be, you know, if their kid said something, they'd probably be like, you couldn't do that. I can guarantee that happens. Probably most parents would be guilty of saying, "Oh, they've told their kid they can't do something," you know.
Yeah.
Or I think, if you want a kid that believes he can do anything, and belief is part of it.
Yeah.
It needs to be the upbringing.
And it's even, I don't even think it's necessarily the case of saying, like, you can't do it. I think it's like subliminal by saying, oh, be careful. Or if the kid said, oh, you know, I've been playing football for 6-7 years as a kid. I'm not enjoying it. I want to get into another sport or something like that. Or I'm thinking about taking this up. Sometimes the parents might be like, oh, well, you know, you've got to get a bit of balance, or, you know, be careful with doing this, or you put in so much time into it. Like, so there's different ways around them sort of maybe pushing them away from something. And again, as well,
if you go into later life with that same headspace, you know, there's a job, and I want to leave this job. I've been here 6-7 years. I want to go somewhere else. But I can't. And
you get comfortable as well,
yeah,
don't you?
do. And it happens.
Yeah.
People settle. And that's something I never did. I didn't settle, and I kept believing, 100%. I always believed, and I think that is the key, really. It's that self-belief. If you believe you're destined for something, you'll get there one way or another. Like, the law of attraction, some mad thing, you know. I don't just think, I'm going to be a millionaire, it'll come to me. The work ethic has to take you there.
Yeah.
But I tell myself every day I'll be a world champion, and I'm going to fight the best guys in the world. I'm going to fight the best promotions in the world, and I put the work in. I can't just sit with you, do a podcast, eat a sandwich, and then, you know,
wait
do
for
nothing.
a call.
Wait for the call. It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
You have to put that work in. They all just twine together. Like, you get your sport, you work hard at it, you set your goals, put your head down for a year, and look what happens in my life. Like, I lost a fight on Cage Warriors in 2017, my first fight with them, and I can't believe where I'm at now.
Yeah.
And it was after I read this book, and like I said, it changed everything for me. It was all about the steps you take every day impact the 6 months time in your life. You know, if you tell me I'm gonna, I don't know, say something happens, I don't know, you get injured, you know, and then you know you're coming back to your rehab, but you want to spend every weekend drinking and eating shit.
Yeah.
Explicit.
Nah, you're fine, mate. You're good.
In 6 months' time, you're not going to be half as good as you was. You know, if you come back and you rehab, you're eating well, you avoid that party life, which is okay. Like, when I'm in a fight camp, it's not on, and outside of a fight camp, I'll have a few drinks and enjoy my time, which everyone should. It's the balance. But if you're working hard, in 6 months' time, that injury's gone, and you're back to where you should be. You know, and I think everyday decisions play a big part of that. You wanna set goals for 2019. We're in the first week of 2019. If you have goals that you want to achieve every day, you need to be working towards them, and in a year's time, the difference that you can have is amazing.
What tips would you use? Do you use vision boards? Do you use meditation as a tool for maybe thinking about?
Visualization, 100%. That's a great. I visualize that. I literally was asleep last night. I wasn't asleep. I was daydreaming. My girlfriend's watching that new You thing. Have you seen that on Netflix?
Nah.
It's crap.
Good recommendation. That I'll pass that one on.
But she's watching that. I'm trying to sleep, and all I'm visualizing is winning, winning hand raised constantly. You know, and we recently this year, because she's going into new business ventures too, we actually got ourselves a whiteboard.
Yeah.
So world champion on hers going to be what she's setting goals.
Yeah, of course.
And there's something real powerful about seeing something you writ down, not just on your phone, writing something in your own handwriting and seeing that every day. There's something very powerful about that, you know.
Yeah.
And if you're making those daily steps towards something, you're gonna be giving off them vibes and stuff. It comes to you, man. I've been believing I'm gonna be a world champion for years, and I'm getting to this point where a lot of good stuff's happening to me. You know, and it's down to hard work, but it's down to self belief. You know, and I believe that I want it and I'll get it. You know?
Within that, like you say, it's the massive power having that visualization and having the board and stuff. Sort of talk about what happens when you do have a setback. Like you said, obviously you lost your first fight in Cage Warriors. How does that go from maybe thinking about the switch? So sometimes people might go into Cage Warriors, lose their first fight, and think, right, fuck, that's
not for me.
You know, it's not for me, or I'm not good enough, or then start having critiques about themselves. What did you do that was obviously different and has managed to propel you into where you are now?
100% critiquing. I have a lot of self-belief, and I say the most absurdist things about myself, and I'll be great, and I believe I'll be the greatest MMA fighter to come out of this country, and I also critique myself more than anyone ever will. Do you know what I mean? More than any hater online can say something. I will always be the worst person, and so that happened after the loss, you know. But like I said, after listening to this book, I switched everything in my head. I always had a strong mindset, but something that really did stick with me, and I've said it twice already, I think, here, is if those daily steps you take every day, whether it be a good or bad thing, it does impact the next 6 months. And I started to take the right steps. You know, I had a couple of weeks very down, and then it's like, what do I do? Do I keep moping about? Do I want to go out and party? Because in another 6 months' time, that's it. That's what will happen. That version of you will be
who you are in the future.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? That's what's going to happen. That 6 months you is what you've just given the last 6 months, you know. So yeah, for me it was back into the gym. I was back out in Ireland. I was ready for another fight, looking for another fight. So we were back to training hard. I stepped up my strength and conditioning, and that was it. And then I got my next fight, I won, and then same again. I take a week off from there. I go back and I train hard again. I just get my head down. I don't talk shit. There's a lot of people, especially in the MMA world, it's all about talk, and there's a lot of guys that talk the big talk, and we were saying earlier about the footballers, loads of guys that come into the gym, and it's actually not in my gym where we train. It's not allowed because it's bollocks, but come in, sunglasses on, nice fancy shoes like this. Look, the fight game is dirty. Like, it's hard, it's grindy. Do you know what I mean? Or grimy. You have to grind. You have to work hard. Like, there's no real glam to it yet. Do you know what I mean?
I guess there's no givens, like, because, you know, if you're a footballer or I guess anyone else who's coming in maybe with a massive ego and it's like, right, I've seen someone on TV do this, I'm gonna try it, and they come in with all their gear on, or go and get the fanciest gear or whatever it is, and that come in and like, you know, this is from, you know, I'm gonna give it a try and whatever. Yeah. I'm sure that there's going to be a few guys in your gym that will
that does
give them
happen
a quick
as well.
realisation.
Yeah, well, that's the great thing about this sport is you get humbled very quickly. Humbled very quickly, you know. So again, I'm very fortunate. I train out of 2 gyms, one here and one back in Ireland, where there's not really any of that, you know, and the coaches wouldn't let it happen.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Egos get left behind. Otherwise, you don't last in it anyway, or you'd be out the door, you know. So yeah, very fortunate. But yeah, I mean, I'm very fortunate for where I am, to be fair. Like, there's no mistake that you get there through that hard work, but I don't know. It's very,
Isn't it? Yeah, I guess so. But everything, like you say, I think happens for a reason. You can't sort of dwell on, you know, you're lucky for where I am, or I've got lucky. I think you put yourself in a great position to be in a shop window that people can see the type of person you are, and probably when they speak to you as well, they know what type of person and character you are, that they know that you're willing to put the work in for a massive card, or a card that isn't massive. I guarantee that people can see that you're willing to do the same amount of work for what might be conceived as a smaller card than what might be conceived as a massive card.
I started off like fighting in like in little other gyms. Like, almost, you know, there was no one there, but I still worked as hard then as I do now. Or I work very hard now, very differently, because it's structured very different.
Yeah, of course.
But I had that same work ethic, you know. And if, like, I fought for Cage Warriors and lost, come away and went and fought back locally again here on a very good show, but a much smaller show compared to Cage Warriors. Cage Warriors is the biggest show in Europe. And I went and fought on a show which is just like known in the southeast of England, you know, and I worked my ass off for that. I'd always work hard for whatever it was, whatever the fight was, you know. And if like tomorrow had to fight in the gym, or let's say 6 months I had to fight in the gym, and there was 10 people watching, I'd still work my ass off. Do you know what I mean? That's how it is. And again, I think that can differ in different sports, you know. You get those, like you're saying, you get those footballers that come down such a level, maybe the work ethic isn't there anymore, you know, or the work rate, or
we see that we see it straight away in the FA Cups, can't we? You can see it at teams, professional teams go down to clubs where it's a shack as a changing room from what they're used to.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what, I'm not turning up today, or for whatever reason, mentality comes into it massively, and it's like, you know, I'm used to having 10 yards of space to get my feet all out, ready to change. I've got, you know, shoulder to shoulder, knees to knees. I can't get my boots on because I'm cramped. Changing room's freezing. They've turned the heating off specifically. All you got is cold water in the tap. People's heads go, and like you say, people's mentality switches quickly when it comes to being grimy, or comes to being in a humbling position where you have to work harder than what you're probably used to for a while.
And luckily in football, you just lose.
Yeah.
You don't really get hurt.
Nah.
You know, if that happens in the fighting game, as you might be going to hospital. You know,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, I think you'll see a lot within fighters, like they know that, you know, like they know when they're on. Like, I know guys that fought in the UFC, but have also fought on that show down in the southeast of England, like a very good show, you know, and they know they still have to show up because it doesn't matter what that guy's level is. If he's got 2 arms and 2 legs, he's gonna still swing at you, you know, and it's the risk still.
It's obviously slightly different to football, but like you're saying, it's very much more dangerous. But also, livelihood-wise, those people that are on the cards in South East Essex or wherever, and the UFC guys that are going down there to fight, they almost want their spot. But the UFC guys know that they have to take their chance, otherwise they see that as a loss on their, on their sheet. Then,
and it looks great for it looks great for the other guy. It looks great, yeah. No, they have to, because you know, if you get into the UFC and then let's say get released, it's a game, it's a stepping stone game back up. You know, you need to go back on a 3 or 4 fight win streak, prove your worth. You know, and once you've come out of the UFC, I can see it's easy that you undermine any show. You know, but you sort of like don't. You know, the UFC is like the production and the glamour and the everything. You know, you're shown around the world and you're known half. You're pretty much like...
The ego's getting massaged a bit more, isn't it? Whereas...
Yeah, people know you everywhere. You're signing autographs now, you know? Yeah. So I can see how you could almost take your eye off the ball, but I think with a sport like this, like... And again, it's not a well-paid sport at all. You know, like if you compare money from a footballer to a fighter, and I can guarantee fighters have to work a lot harder. Like they have to train 2-3 times a day, you know, and so I don't know what a footballer's regime is, but I mean, what would it be? A session?
A couple of hours in the morning, maybe. During season, pre-season, maybe 2 sessions a day.
Yeah.
Plenty of rest. You've got a massage straight away after if you're tight, and you know, things like that. You've got the ice bath, spa baths all set up for you. You're not doing much in the professional game in terms of you've got to do stuff for yourself, or I presume obviously in the fight game there'll be stuff that you might have to outsource yourself. Like if you're getting knocks and bruises, you're going to have to maybe outsource unless you've got that in your team, physios.
And there's a lot you have to outsource. You have to go and find your strength and conditioning guys, you know. You have to find your nutrition.
Yeah. Just speak about that. In terms of like the nutrition and the strength and conditioning, how did that all come about for you?
I was very fortunate. My coach made a very good contact years back with a guy now that's like very famous for what he does, and like they work with the likes of like Anthony Joshua. They work with McGregor. They work with all like the top athletes, footballers. They have a contract with Fulham. So Tom Kearney was over there recently after he had a knee injury or something, maybe, or a foot ankle. He was over getting rehab. They look after a lot of athletes, you know, and I fell into this position with them guys, which is... I didn't fall into it. I worked hard for it and I got it, you know. I didn't fall into it by luck. I worked hard and they wanted me to join them, you know. But I'm surrounded, like, fortunately, by some really savage people, but it never was like that, you know. Never was like that. You did everything yourself, you know. And I think that my strength and conditioning coach now sees like I come and fly over back and forth, and I live in the gym. I put the work in, and they look after me, you know. And they're not just like a strength and conditioning team. They look after my nutrition. They're looking after they track my body fat. You'll be getting tested with your body fat. They've got recently like the new salt bath things. The salt tubs, you seen them for like recovery?
Not the
flotation tanks.
Oh, okay, yeah. So they're similar to like the cryotherapy.
No, that's the cryotherapy. What?
Yeah.
Nah,
the freezing.
That's good. No, they don't have that. That's really good.
Yeah.
They have like a flotation tank, so it's just all salts, and you lay in this tank for an hour. You relax, you float in the water. But it just basically gives your muscles and it gives it back the magnesium. It's really good for recovery. It's amazing. I have all that, you know. So they also test bloods, so they can see what you're lacking, what you need to improve. If your B12's down, if your testosterone's low, you know. So again, that's like going into a lot of the science stuff behind it, which you can't do yourself. I can't just train in my mum's house and start jabbing myself.
Yeah, plus it's also time consuming as well. Imagine that, just going and getting outsourcing all that gear, doing it yourself. Then, you know, if you are low on certain stuff, then obviously researching what you then got to do to combat that it's
a lot, because it's time, really time, and it's expensive as well. And again, you're not making millions of pounds. You know, like all my money, and still to this day, I'm very fortunate now that my career's going in the right direction. So I have a lot of clients in both Ireland and in the UK. I have many clients now. So my weekends when I'm back are full, and my weeks out there are full. So I do well enough for myself now, which again, like, is sort of almost not deserved, but I earned that, you know, because I've lived on nothing almost to pursue this. Everything I ever earned went back into flying, went back into eating. Again, like, my nutrition's sorted by a chef now over in Ireland, so I have a guy who gives my meals to me, you know, because he wants to help me. See, again, they just see what you're putting in. I'll be the same in the future. If I can see that someone's really wanting something and works hard, of course you're going to help them, aren't you? You know?
So you're investing in yourself, aren't you? If you're investing in yourself and you're putting that clever work in, and you're working extra, people will see that and will try and help you out humble, tenfold.
You know? If you're not an arsehole and believe you, you know,
and you're not appreciative of people helping you out initially, because that will go. People talk, that goes a long way. And
but like again, I'm very fortunate. But I live in the gym now, you know, and I still live there, and I sleep in the gym. And it wouldn't be for everyone. That's a mental toughness more than anything. But I remember, like, not being able to afford any food, and like my coach, like, getting me meals and sitting in the gym, and then there'd be nothing to do. Like, pretty much it'd be like finish training, and I'd have like almost 14 hours to the next session, and I'd only be able to sleep maybe 6 on a sofa bed, you know.
Yeah. Well,
tough.
Yeah, talk about that, because obviously, like you say, it's not for most people, and you obviously moved over to Ireland. Were people that you were maybe close to that you've fallen out with, or not necessarily fallen out with, was there people that maybe looked at him and was like, you know, Webby's changed, or, you know, he's not contacting us, or he's different? And like you said, maybe you getting into reading books and your mentality and stuff changing, or your idea of stuff. Was there ever any time where people were like, you know, you've changed, or you're always surrounded by people that understood what you wanted to do?
I feel like all my friends have been friends for so long. Yeah. They're all good friends, you know, so there was never anything negative that I heard anyway. Yeah. No one ever put me off. It was more earlier on, because I never had any money. Yeah. So I remember putting myself in debt. I went and trained in Holland, kickboxing.
Oh, okay.
And I was getting ready for a kickboxing fight, and I remember getting a £1,000 credit card out just to fund that. Yeah. Paid for my hotel, paid for my flights and my week's training. It cost like £700. And I remember, because I spent so much and so little time, they like not cancelled the card, but they said I had to put something back into it to be able to use it again. I didn't have any money. And so I remember being on the train, and I had to get the ticket, because I remember ringing up and I'm like, I can't use my card to get the train. And they wouldn't put anything on there. And I was like, I have no money. You know, like... Oh man, I lost where I was there.
You didn't have any money on the train. You trying to get the train, and
before that, what was we talking about before? I just went.
Just if anyone was sitting there thinking that you've changed.
Exactly. Yeah. So having that no money, it was more of a worry. Yeah. That was me just going off on a story, which is quite a funny story. I actually turned up to Holland, didn't even have the second time I went, didn't have anywhere to stay because I had no credit card or money. So I actually went and booked flights for cheap on the rest of the money when I put some into it. Credit card was maxed out. Turned up to Amsterdam, went to the gym again, and then had nowhere to stay.
Fucking hell.
But anyway, back to the story. Yeah, because I had this debt now over me, and then it was like a worry for your family, your mum, you know, like, how are you gonna pay that off? And then, you can't. And I actually was in a kickboxing tournament, and it paid £1,000, and that was actually how I managed. I didn't say it. That was actually when I was speaking to the woman on the phone with my credit card. I remember saying to her, I've got a fight on Saturday. I'll be able to pay it off then. Yeah. I actually lost in the final. I lost to a split decision, so it killed me, you know. But I meant that went up to a lot of money. But there was a worry then, you know, people, before I start to get to this and have that, the money, it's not, I'm not doing it for the money at all, but the coaching now shows that you can make a living. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I can coach and make a good living, and I have a great life. I can go and do 3 or 4 hours a day, and then I've got the rest of my day to do what I want. I can train. Do you know what I mean? Like, I said it to my brother before he went and started a business up as well. I literally was like, you're working 14 hours a day or whatever, including your travel.
Yeah.
Like, what sort of life's that, you know? Like, and there was always back and forth with that, like, you know, like, what sort of life do you have? Because I used to, like, laugh, saying I can go to the coffee shop at lunch, you know, and just sit there.
Yeah,
I love
of
that.
course.
Do you know what I mean? I love that. Like, I do it with my girlfriend now. She's, like, very flexible with her work as well. So, like, there's nothing better than, like, I sometimes at fight camp I fly home on a Thursday afternoon, and then Friday we get to wake up whenever we want, and we go into town and we have lunch together. And it was great last summer. We used to like just sit outside, have a coffee, have an omelette somewhere, and you're like, this is what life's about.
Getting out
on
a kayak as well, mate.
Oh yeah, do you know what I mean? We loved that.
Yeah.
We were doing that, like, we live a great life, like, we live a fantastic life, me and her, and we don't have, like, millions of pounds and this and that, but we just, like, we both have that same mindset where we're not going to work for anyone else, we're going to work hard and get where we want to be, and, like I say, if you find someone in your life that you want to do that with as well, and you can, like, me and her, like, before anything, we're great friends as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, we go and sit on kayaks for hours with each other, you know what I mean? Like, we have a great time together, and I think that's what life's for. You're meant to spend the majority of your life working. It might as well be something you want to do.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And this is that point, like, anywhere between, like, the age of, like, say 14, where you've got some, like, idea of what's going on in life. You need to be thinking, what do I really want to do, and apply that, you know, up until maybe, I don't even think there is an age to apply that to. I think you can do that at any time in your life. I just think other things can't, like, take over, or the mindset that you can't do it.
Yeah, and also, like you're saying, even earlier, when you're alluding back to people with work, maybe you're getting put up in nice hotels with work, they've been at a job that they hate for years, but the luxuries of what they're having through work, even though the work itself is shit, or they hate it, or it's causing absolute stress on them mentally, or in their relationship.
And their health.
Yeah, and they just say, well, you know, it pays good money.
Pays the bills, yeah.
But the paying of your bills surely doesn't outweigh the stress on a relationship or you're in your own mental state.
I think if you take away the mental state and the relationship side of it, your health, like, well, you leave the mental side and to be your health. Is any job, is any money worth your health? Is any job worth a heart attack?
Not in my opinion.
It's not that. I don't give a shit. I'd literally rather have the bare minimum and live that exciting life which you enjoy, than be that person who's like working for someone else and you've got like so much fucking pressure to hit these targets and you don't hit them and you're in trouble and your job's on the line. You're getting like, there's a chance of like failing at something you hate.
Yeah.
When you could go and fail at something. Like, if I failed at all of this right now, fucking, I spent years having fun.
Yeah.
Had a great time, you know. I made great friends.
Plus, also, like, it's difficult because we're in such a social element now where everything is online, isn't it? So if your mates have just got the newest car, or if your mates have got the newest watch, or if your mates going on extravagant holidays, we're seeing it so much. So it's almost like people are going straight into a job which might pay well, so they can pay for that stuff.
Yeah.
But ultimately, after all of those things have come, so you might have gone on an expensive holiday, but you're going back to a place that doesn't value, or you can be shot off straight away,
and then,
or that company could be gone bust, and that's you for 10, 15 years. Or
you drop dead there and then, and someone's sitting in your seat in a week's time.
Yeah.
No one cares about you.
That's it. You're always working for someone else.
Yeah.
In that constraint where it's you're paying someone else who probably is doing what you want to be doing, which is enjoying your own time, spending time with your own family,
drinking coffee in coffee shops in the day,
and then going out on a kayak in the summer for about 5 hours.
That's what I used to do. Yeah, we used to literally be like, Saturday I'd do some lessons, and then what should we do? I would go on the kayak. Fucking great fun. And then we started like just finding different rivers and different ways to go, and ended up having a great time. And then me and my brother went out on it one time, and we started in Dedham, and we were like, no, it wasn't Dedham, it was Stratford area maybe. Right, we're going to kayak to Dedham, and all of a sudden, like, the Milsoms is in between.
Yeah.
And some wedding boats come around, and then me and my brothers, and we're like
trying to scoot around.
Then there's like, we're playing music, we're always playing music on the kayak, we've got our little boombox, and then we're going past the Milsoms, and there's all these people suited and booted like a wedding, and us scumbags coming past. But great fun, you know, like great fun.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, like I said, like, it's about like the daily steps you make, and that's like made me have this like life I really enjoy and get to live, and I wouldn't change that for the world, and I certainly wouldn't change. Like, again, I'm fortunate that what I do helps my health, but no amount of stress from a job is worth me having a heart attack. And again, like these great paying jobs where these CEOs are sitting in offices from 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. and they've got these massive houses which they don't see. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
And you're paying thousands of pounds for a nanny.
Do you know what I mean?
You're not spending that time with your kids either, because eventually you will lose the amount of times where I've had friends where the parents are in those well-paid jobs, but as they grow up, they start to resent the parents because there's no real relationship with them. So when they get to a certain age and they want to do stuff, that's when the parents start and having their opinion, or this job is not necessarily, maybe what we think is the right path for you. And the kids are like, hang on a second, you actually don't even know. You don't know me. Like, I've either been shipped off to a boarding school and we don't really spend time together because you're always working, or we just don't get on for whatever reason. So it is difficult.
Because your job's so stressful, you come back and you're an arsehole.
Yeah. Or you come back and you're doing your job still. Yeah,
which is I think if a lot of people heard this podcast, it'd be like, "Are you two a man?" I think I'd say about 80% of like parents would be like, "You're talking nonsense," but there's no. That's this, it is how it is. Like,
and I guess it's not for everyone. Like doing your own job and working for yourself, and I understand that, but I think the actual point of the matter is do something that you love, even if it's a job where it might be less money, but you've always wanted to do it. For whatever reason you got caught in between, or you went for the higher paying job that's causing stress. Do something that, or it might be the job that actually gives you the best amount of joy, that might be giving you more money. Do whatever's right, but you've got to obviously include that health. And
I have a friend who does that now, my friend Darren. He's into a job which, again, like it pays well, it pays enough. Don't get me wrong, it pays him well, but it pays him well now, But he's in a job where like he loves it. He worked hard for it. He went and he studied and he put time in, and he done like stuff, a lot of volunteering stuff. So he was doing a lot of things that he wasn't being paid for to get to this position. And fair play to him. That's what you should be doing. Put yourself out there a little bit. And enjoy what you're doing. Yeah,
enjoyment's a massive key, isn't it? Like, if you're not enjoying it, eventually you're going to need to move on to something else that you are enjoying.
Well, if it's a sport, you quit.
Yeah.
So why is it any different if it's a job?
That's a fair point.
Why is it any different? I like that quote on there. Nah, I never heard that either.
Nah, that's it. Just want to talk about, am I right in saying that you're a brown belt at BJJ?
Yeah.
Talk about the disciplines and what that entails in terms of getting to that level.
A brown belt, when I first started, there was a purple belt who used to come and train every other few weeks, and looking at him was like looking at a god. That's what it used to feel like. It's quite surreal being a brown belt now. You just me and my teammates from back home here, we're all the same. We're all brown belts, but we all come up together and we all worked hard and tried to kill each other for years now. See, sometimes you don't really get to appreciate it until you sort of really think about it, but it's a serious level we're all at now. Like a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu it's you're one away from your black belt, but it's a sport that takes years to get, and years on the mat and injuries, and that's why I think there's this great thing with Jiu-Jitsu with the whole mindset thing, you have to go through so much. I don't know if you ever listen to Joe Rogan, you have to overcome so many things in it, which I think does make your life easier. And that's maybe where the attitude sort of half come from. But you're put in these situations where you've got guys trying to break your arms, break your legs, break your feet, strangle you. Where, to me, life never gets that hard.
No.
Never. No one's ever in my face trying to choke me out in the street. So all these everyday situations, or not having any money, for instance, doesn't really affect me that much. You're just whatever.
It's also everything is also the mindset that you put yourself in, isn't it? Like you said, someone's trying to break your arm, break your leg, but something that might be I don't know, oh, I've seen my mate on holiday, I haven't had any money, and you put yourself in that mindset of, right now I'm in a sort of going into a little depressive state for 5 minutes because I haven't got any money for a week.
Yeah.
You quickly get yourself out of that with the correct mindset.
Yeah,
like if like you're saying, within this sport, it can easily transfer into life because you're probably going through 70% worse things in terms of physically on your body.
I'll tell you something, man. Like it sounds like you're talking, like it sounds like I'm talking nonsense. But if you get someone get on your back and starts choking you, effectively, if they don't let go, you're dead. And all of a sudden, like you realise how horrible this feeling is, and you don't want to. We all like at the beginning, you're going to tap very fast because you're concerned about your neck being squeezed. But I'm only tapping to like chokes and stuff on my neck when I'm going to sleep. I'm trying everything I can to get out of it, and half the time the thought in my head is if this was real, like, oh my god, I'd be like, I don't know, you're just like in this weird trance where you're like, I need to get out, I need to escape, I need to be able to like live life, I need to be able to breathe, I need to be able to breathe, and then all of a sudden, like, it's a Saturday and you're drinking coffee in the sun, but you're enjoying life, and nothing gets that worse. Like what's worse than someone really nearly put me to sleep, or effectively, like they say in jiu-jitsu, like you tap because you'd have been killed. And what's going to happen? Is someone going to come and shout at me, or is someone going to tell me that in a job, like, I don't know, they're going to shout at me for this or that? Like, it wouldn't even bother me, like. No. I don't know, maybe not be the right attitude, but like I find that life gets easier because of these situations you put yourself in. You get comfortable in the uncomfortable, Sure. And if you're constantly comfortable in these situations that you just deal with every day, all of a sudden something hits you like, oh shit, we need to pay the bills and we haven't got no money, then you're in a fucking shit state, and then everything goes to piss. Where if you're constantly testing yourself and your mental health and not your mental health, but if you're testing yourself, like you're pushing yourself to the limits in sports and whatever it be, like I think life becomes a bit easier. If I can deal with this and I can deal with someone breaking my arms and breaking my neck, then we can get over this. This isn't the end of the world. And I have that sometimes, a conversation with my mum sometimes, like maybe it's the generation she was in or the way they believe, but sometimes everything feels like the end of the world or a big deal, and I'm just like, what are you on about?
Yeah, of course.
Like, how, like, this doesn't even matter. No. It doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter.
What's she like in terms of when it's coming up to fight week or fight night? How is she now? And what was she like at the very start when you first started getting into fights?
In the beginning of it, like that, no one really ever knew. I used to just keep it very much, very quiet. I remember my first MMA fight, I took my friend Jamie, Daz, and Ethan, but no one knew about it. We just went somewhere and fought, and my coach was coming. It was in Norwich one night, and then come away. I used to try and keep it very like low key because I didn't want people to come. I was always in fear of losing. Yeah. And I'm well over that fear now. Do you know what I mean? Like, again, failure is part of success. I want everyone to come watch me now. I want everyone to come watch me showcase my skills. Yeah, of course. Like, that's what you want now. I want people to watch me. Like, you're a fighter, but you're also like, you're an entertainer. Yeah, you're a showman. Like, there's a certain element to what you do which, it entertains people, but you need to, like, people need to see you. You need to be seen to be anywhere. And so she never used to be really involved then, and then she started to come into a couple of like low level grappling tournaments, like I used to say low level actually, like maybe like the English championships and stuff. And it's so mad actually, just going off topic here, how you say I'm saying something like the English championships being a low level, like that would have been back in the day huge. Yeah. But now all of a sudden I'm around a team now where we're going like the European championships, and you've got the world championships. Guys are going to the LA, and guys are going over to Portugal to fight the Euros. Like, everything I've been always surrounded by has always been coming up. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, like, saying the English championships doesn't really feel like it's a big deal anymore. Like, oh, whatever.
I guess once you're past, not necessarily past it, but like once you've
reached certain levels,
it's a case of, like you said earlier, in terms of the purple belt, looking at that person as a god. It's like, it's weird how sometimes you don't. Yeah,
I'm a step above that now. I'm a brown belt now. Yeah.
Yeah, actually realising that is completely different.
But yeah, she started to enjoy it, and then she started to come along. When I started to come and fight in Colchester, I'd find that she'd be there, and my brothers and my sister were there, and my dad comes along as well sometimes, and then when you start getting to like the bigger shows, as they say, they're always there, and your friends are always there, and I thought last time I main evented the one in Colchester. The Cage Warriors come to Colchester for the first time back in November, and I main evented that, and I had someone fly over from Switzerland to come and watch me. The guy paid for his girlfriend to come. She was like an MMA fan. She loved me, or she was a big fan of me. He's paid for her to come over, sit front row, and then after wanting me to sign a shirt.
Is that just to make sure that she wasn't trying phenomenal, or
my girlfriend trains as well now, so she'll be right. She'll look after herself.
Contest, isn't it?
But it's unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. Like I'm standing. Like the fight ended, everything finished, and I sort of said to everyone, I began to go head to Smith's in Colchester. I'm going to head there, have a few drinks, and see everyone. Which is win, lose or draw. You have to go and see people. They're coming to spend their Saturday night watching me. I'm going to always go and appreciate people. I'm not going to just go and hide in my room or whatever. And my brother Harry comes over. He's like my little manager when I'm like out. He's like trying to tell me to go and talk to people. I remember saying to him, "Will you shut up, telling me what to do?" Because he's like, "Go do this, go do that." And then he's like, "No, seriously, this guy come over from Switzerland or Sweden somewhere, and he said he's come over for like the day to come watch her, and he wants to get a picture and can you sign his shirt?" And I was just like, "Who am I?
Yeah.
Like, where did this happen?" Like,
I guess you say once you get to that level, there's that interest in you and everything. So not necessarily viral now, but everything like you're doing in the sport is becoming so global that eventually that might not be somewhere else, and Canada or America, people coming over to watch, or you fighting in them areas.
Yeah,
more people to
happen. I've had it before at Stansted. I've been stopped at Stansted, like gone with my friends. Actually, I was going to another fight show in Belfast. We were flying over. Got stopped in Stansted, like, I know you. Like, you just start to get surreal moments. I actually went on holiday to Portugal in 2017, and someone stopped me in the hotel there. Like, you get these little moments, where you take a look back and you're like, life isn't that bad. Like, it's pretty good, So, 8 weeks time, I get to do it again and keep putting my name out there.
Yeah, that's the task, mate. Well, in terms of people that are looking to get into MMA or looking to start getting into the fight game, what's it like on the body itself, the training, so the physical side of it? How does that take time to adapt? And then also, what would you say, again, you spoke about earlier about getting into the gym and it becoming a humbling experience very quickly. But what would you say to people that are looking to get into it, not necessarily to fight, but I don't know, fitness side of training, or just intrigued and it might see it in the future if they pick it up?
I think if you're gonna, you have to you can't just, if you're gonna do the MMA part, you have to commit to it a little bit to see if it is for you. If it isn't for you, I think jiu-jitsu would be. Almost, if you're interested in MMA and mixed martial arts and you like watching the UFC and you do a bit of training, you're like, I don't like being hit. Jiu-jitsu is definitely for you. You can still find your way into the sport somehow, But then saying that, if you are, you are into MMA and you're really enjoying it, again, I'd say do jiu-jitsu because it's such a solid foundation to build, and it's very low impact. There is, you can get injured and you can get hurt really bad, but there's a low chance of injury. And it makes you tough, man. Makes you tough. Like I said, when you're getting, it's problem solving. The best way to look at it, actually, someone showed me something recently. It was a Rubik's Cube. And someone was saying jiu-jitsu is like solving a 200-pound Rubik's Cube that fights back. That's what it's like. It's problem solving, That's exactly what it is, problem solving. And I just think, if you're gonna, if you want to get into MMA, you need to, take it seriously, but obviously give it some time, because obviously your body it needs to harden it, and it does harden to anything. Like, you're going from drastic measures here, but I hate seeing homeless people, but homeless people, they deal with cold nights every night. Their body
adapts.
It shouldn't. I don't want it to be something. I think it's terrible, but they get not used to it. But their body doesn't evolve. It just adapts. It just adapts, and that's what happens when you're doing anything. Really, you adapt to that sport. Jiu-jitsu has this thing where it makes your ears a bit tougher, your neck fatter, your fingers stronger. And MMA does a similar thing. And if you you never go in. If you go into a gym and you're put into spar first time, I think you're in the wrong gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like your experience shouldn't be like that.
No.
You should be
Take
where
a
I'm
few months to.
where I'm in Ireland. The guys are like 3 months, jiu-jitsu, 12-week program. You do that, then you start doing like the MMA fundamentals. There's no sparring in that. That's just getting used to getting taken down and learning how to throw punches. After 3 months, you can then join the class. But then by then you should be a bit more hardened to it, and you're a bit more aware of what's going on. When you come into a class straight away, no one knows what's going on.
No.
Then you're thrown in the deep end. It's like being thrown into a swimming pool and you've got no arms.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
Just using your legs.
You just what you're doing.
Like,
you don't even know what you're doing.
Up and down.
And then every 2 or 3 minutes, someone pulls you back out.
Yeah.
That's what it's like, and that's I see that I do. There's this ultra MMA thing now in Colchester, where you get 8 weeks training, you go and fight in the cage, and it's the most moronic thing I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
No one's ready to do anything in 8 weeks, but all of a sudden you're ready to go fight in a cage. And again, I think most people just want a display picture. They want to say, "Oh, I'm a cage fighter."
Is that similar to like the what would be classed as the boxing one?
Yeah.
You know, it's
But that's
coming
even
up now.
worse.
Because like you alluded to earlier, it's so dangerous.
It's so dangerous, and if 8 weeks isn't enough to teach anything.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's not and you're talking about a sport where you have to look at yourself like a triathlete. You don't just box in a cage. You have to wrestle. You have to do jiu-jitsu. Do you know what I mean? There's so many sports you have to do, so you can never in 8 weeks. What can you learn really?
Plus, your body's got to recover properly, and a lot of these fighters, I guess, are going straight from whatever they're doing within that 8 week training to maybe their job straight away, or coming from their job straight to the recovery.
But you're going from a guy that does nothing, sits on the sofa, let's say that, goes to the gym, let's say he's actually half athletic, let's say he goes to the gym, plays football, let's say, does football, thinks, I like that, goes into it. In 8 weeks, he still knows nothing. Nothing.
No.
Nothing. There's so much more I can learn, and I believe I fight at a very good level, but I still feel very new to it. And I train with these guys, and I teach some guys, they come to me and I tell them straight away I don't think they should do it. I'm training one guy at the moment, and I've told him the dangers and the risks, but I'm actually willing to put some time with him. He wants to work hard, and he said he's going to commit, so I said I'll work hard for it, but I don't really want anything to
associate
with that. No, because he knows the danger of it and the risks. I said to him I don't think it's wise, but he wants to do it for himself.
Yeah. He
wants to test himself. That's great. That's fair enough. I believe most people want a display picture, but the dangers. I have to have I have blood tests every 6 months to make sure that I don't have any diseases, because you're bleeding on people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so these 8 week shows, is everyone getting blood tested?
Nah, mate.
Nah, they're not. So how do you know if they haven't got some blood disease that you can catch?
And that's something, I guess, mate, I'd never even think of. So
yeah, you don't, and no one does. ECGs. I've had an ECG on my heart, so my heart's okay. But do you know how many people have heart problems they don't even know of?
Yeah.
No, don't even know of. That's why you see sportsmen drop dead, because they never had one.
Well, these, I guess, is this similar to the boxing where it's a lot of it is for charity?
Yeah,
a
but
lot of these events.
Mate, listen, you don't with combat sports. You don't play it.
Nah.
You don't play.
It's got to be, and if they are doing this, it has to be over a longer period.
Yeah,
and it has
100%.
to be like you're saying with the heart screening, with the blood tests,
the brain scans.
You're
getting punched in the head. I had my brain scan. I remember the guy saying to me, "Listen, there's nothing to worry about," but he said, "I just want you to know that 50% of the general public will have an abnormality with the brain, whether it be what they call a cyst. Now, most people have them in their head, and they're never a problem. They're not a problem at all. They're not a problem whatsoever to have. But if you're getting hit in the fucking head, they are a problem. Do you know what I mean? And people,
especially repeatedly.
So did all of these people doing this 8 weeks pay £500 for their brain scan as well? Did they? No. So it's dangerous and it's stupid, and I think loads of stuff's worth doing for charity. You should do charity work's great, but don't, unless you're a professional fighter and you're giving your fight purse to charity, don't be doing that. If you're not trained to do that,
and I think also you got to associate the correct sport in charity event to actually what you're doing. So like you're saying, if you are going to do this, it needs to be over 6 to 12-month period with all the checks in place, with all the pros, with all the safety measures in place.
There's something they do in Ireland called Wimp to Warrior, and that's the same thing that they're doing like here. Like, so it's called Ultra MMA here, and you're in 8 weeks in a cage. In Ireland, it's called Wimp to Warrior. It's 6 months training, and you've got to be there like 4 or 5 times a week. They're getting you there every like literally Monday to Friday like a job. 6:30 in the morning you're training. 6 months of that. That's a little bit more reasonable. You can deal with that. Do you know what I mean? People go into fights with less training than that, but I think 8 weeks, man.
Yeah. Plus, you're also that time frame. You're learning consistently about the technique, the form, the safety measures, everything. Whereas 8 weeks, like you're saying, is not enough.
Well, like I said, like I did some training with people who do 8 weeks training. There's people that have done like 2 or 3 years training, and to me, it's like fighting with a 5-year-old. That's literally what it is. Yeah. Like if you've done 8 weeks training, I will literally just treat you like a fight. Yeah. It's not you have nothing to. You have nothing. Nothing. You don't have anything that worries me. So,
sort of going from the training side of it, I spoke earlier to you about fights. How do you combat when you're going into a fight, someone coming at you either with shots, kicks, someone coming at you with aggression? How do you combat and think about what they're going to do to you whilst you're thinking about how you're going to either take them down, how you're going to knock them out? What things do you do in terms of your training to...
It's, again, do you know what? I've answered that jiu-jitsu thing. Those scenarios when you're in jiu-jitsu, you're always in these worst scenarios. So when you get there, and we do this similar training over in SPG, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want other teams to know.
No, of
course. You're always in the worst situations. And so when you're in the fight, you've already been there. Do you know what I mean? I train for this fight, so yeah, like it's not muscle memory as such, but like I have someone punch me in the face every day.
Yeah.
So when I get into the ring, it's no different. You have someone kicking you. You have someone trying to take you down. So you're put in these situations. So when you're there, you're like, I've been here. I've done that. Now, again, to counter that, you just have to not run away. Now, again, like for many months, once you start training, when you get hit, the human reaction is to turn away.
Yeah.
It's everyone's reaction. Someone throws a punch at you, you turn your back. You give your back, which is the worst thing to do. If someone gives me their back in a fight, I'm like, hallelujah.
Yeah,
praise the Lord. Do you know what I mean? If I flinch and he turns around, I'm just like, it's over.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's done. So you again, like you have these like reactions, say like, so I'm always like, for me, I'm working on different things, so I'm always trying to work off of someone's jab. So as soon as they jab, I'm trying to like block, go. You know, where someone else might be working off the right hand, so he might be thinking he's using his jab to get the reaction of the right hand, and he might be like jab, he sees the 1-2, he's slipping, that's his next shot. You know, like everyone has their different triggers. Like I was saying earlier, when someone kicks me, I rarely check it. I look to turn my leg out because I keep my balance and I'm still in your face. That was loud, but I'm still there. So you kick me, and instead of like kicking and I'm having to move back, I'm still coming forward. You kick me, I bend into it, I'm coming forward. And I think that there's nothing worse than seeing that. You keep giving someone your shot, and then he's still here.
So like you're alluding to, it's like a little game of chess.
It's 100% chess.
Absolute power and
and
aggression
like,
as well. And
again,
timing.
You know, some guys are like, okay, they watch a bit of tape, they're like, okay, he likes to shoot a double leg after throwing a jab, so he jabs and shoots, and the guy's like, right, every time he jabs, I'm going to throw a knee. So the guy jabs and he automatically throws a knee, and if he shoots, game over.
Is there ever been a fight so far where you've done a lot of tape work, or your team have done tape work, and whether it's in terms of the boxing style or whether it's in terms of their submission game, that someone's brought something completely different to the fight that you hadn't seen from them out of all of their fights? Or
nah, never. Like,
do you find that fighters tend to have they
follow similar patterns?
Yeah,
they do. But not just that. I just have my coach, my MMA coach Chris. He breaks down everything. He goes over like all the tape. He watches everything. And then he sends me this breakdown, like, you know, like it would be like 2 pages, and he's like this, and he's like, watch out for this. But he's looking at everything, and he's like, where he's saying watch out for, he's like, this is where you go. So like with the last fight, he was saying to me, like he's going to be aggressive, he's going to swing, if he hits you, he hits hard, he's going to throw the leg kick. We knew he was going to throw a leg kick. We knew he was going to try, and if he could throw, maybe a head kick. But he loads up on the right hand. We knew all that. He turned his toes in. Little things that not many people would ever look at. Well, you would if you were in that sport.
Yeah.
He turned his toes in, so it'd be hard for him to check my kick if I threw a kick. So we were working on that, but the first round was all about putting pressure on him, and we knew that every time I threw shots, or every time he was looking to take, every time someone pressured him with shots, he backed off. And that's what I did. Every time I come forward, he backed himself up to the cage, and you can only go as far as the cage. And then there's nowhere else to go, And,
well, I saw something that you said about, because your submission game is so good, it's almost easier for you because you feel like fighters don't necessarily want to come out and
they don't want to grapple,
break you down.
Yeah, well, they don't want to grapple. Like there's that risk of, if I end up striking, if you're a really good striker, you end up trying to strike with a guy who's a very good grappler. You don't want to throw your hands because your hips are open. So as soon as you throw a 1-2 or a leg kick or you throw a head kick, you're on one leg or your hands are away from your hips. You can't stop a takedown. Once that grappler's attached to you, that's done. Do you know what I mean? Once a grappler's on you, if you have a high level grappler against a high level striker, the striker is wary. Every time he throws, there's an opportunity for that guy to get hold of him, and it makes people hesitant. They stop thinking about just going out and doing their A game. They're like, well, he might do this.
They're aware
and
of
all
what
of a
you
sudden,
can do,
the grappler's throwing shots at you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And yeah, you throw people off. That's what makes high level grapplers dangerous. Like anyone with a 4-ounce glove on's knocking someone out if you get hit, especially the weights I fight at. Like I fight at middleweight, but I mean I'm fighting back in there with 90-something kilo guys. You get hit by a 90-kilo guy, you know about it, and if they hit you clean, you go down. And yeah, I think having a really good grappling background, it worries a lot of people. MMA, they seem to train MMA, they sort of hit it all in together, where I really try to specialise in something.
Was that specifically that you got into, or when you started getting into it, did a coach say, look, when you work on this? Because I think this will be a massive element of your fighting career.
My first jiu-jitsu coach, he was saying to me, I remember him saying to me, like, I was half playing football. I wasn't really playing. I was just
knocking about.
Yeah, like I'd go and train on a Tuesday night playing football, and I remember him saying, he was like, you'll have a much better fight career than you would playing football. So I stopped playing, and then I stopped. So unfortunately, listening to that, I'm here, but we purely worked on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is another sport, but if you're a very high level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter, if you can transition well enough, if you can take a shot, you end up being a really dangerous guy in MMA. Really dangerous,
Yeah.
Like Damian Maia's a guy now in the UFC. He's a middleweight, he's a grappler, and people are scared of him, Gunnar Nelson's another grappler, and them two fought each other, and I think he sort of he almost mauled him, It was scary to watch. Jesus, the levels of grappling that are out there, you believe you're good, and then there's someone that's better. And when you're grappling with someone who's better than you, like I said earlier, it's like you're drowning. That's what it's like. If you're fighting a guy that's all over you, and you can't get him off, it is like drowning. You're suffocating slowly. Do you know what I mean? It's miserable, and then he's on your back. And you're getting punched as well.
So would you change your fight specifically? So for you, in your next fight, if your opponent was a high level, let's say probably not at the level that you're at, would you change your fight to maybe a bit more stand-up? Or
if my coach said that's what we're going to do, we'd do it. We'll stick to a game plan. But, you know what, the best sort of thing to do is let it go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We have a guide. We had a guide for the last fight. We were going to fake the level change and see his reaction. I faked the level change, you threw a knee. So I was like, okay, we'll keep it standing for a bit. So you sort of you play into their game, what they want. And I mean, there was no game plan to knock him out, really.
No.
There was never we're going to throw it. We just said we'll keep it standing. Yeah. We don't need to rush the takedown. We'll get the takedown, And it'll be for all the fights. I don't need to rush any takedown. No. And if they want to grapple with me, then great. And if they try and take me down, great. Otherwise you end up in a fight, and it's almost like a plan B. Worst comes to worst, you can, you're on your back, and I can defend and get back up. And
I guess now people are wary of, after the knockout against Radcliffe, that you're you can,
not
deliver
be
bombs
play,
and get people in rear naked chokes. And that's it.
There's like I think that does look scary as well, especially when you look at my record. Like all my wins are all finishes, like having to go on the distance, which looks great.
I was going to say, you haven't gone past round 3, have you?
No, I didn't know. I didn't. Nah, in Cage Warriors, I had a decision loss.
Yeah. Is that the 0-2?
Yeah, I lost that one, and that was a decision. But there was no chance I was ever getting finished, and I got pinned to the cage. But all my wins have come pretty quick. Like they're coming like in the second round almost. I've had 2 in the first, 2 in the second, 3 in the first, 2 in the second. But early second, not like late rounds. They're like that's what this is like being said. That was the quickest finish I had against Jason, 126 or whatever it was. But like I had like a second to go. I've won a fight in the first round. I've won a fight like 20 seconds into the second round. Once, like, I feel like I won that fight in last summer because I put so much pressure on the guy. I literally wrestle fucked him. Yeah. He tried to take me down. He didn't take me down. I reversed the position and just mauled him on the cage, dragged him around the whole place. And once, like, he gets taken down once and you get up. When you get up with 90 kilos on top of you, it's hard.
I suppose as well, after a whole round of trying to get out
of that, trying to get up. And then when I went to come back out, I don't know if you saw it, I went to level change again. He went to put his hands down to stop it and I hit him with an uppercut. Yeah. And he was out there and I carried him, took the rear naked choke, But that was because he was just like, I can't stay there again for 3 or 4 minutes getting pulled around because you're draining, you're fucked.
What do you think for now, moving forward, you've got the fighters in a position which is probably better for you because you're always moving up in terms of levels where it's better that you can get the knockout, you can get the submission. But each fight and each level, how does the fitness side come into it? Is there ever a point in your head where you're thinking, right, I'm finishing guys in 1 and 2 rounds. I know I can submit guys still, but is there ever a point in your head that goes, fitness-wise, can I go that distance? Is there ever that mental side?
I know, mate. That's what I mean. Like I train with this team when the motherfuckers they push me to beyond limits. Like I'm ready to go all day fighting. And that's the reason I'm finishing early is because I'm putting the pace on. I'm setting the pace because I have that fitness and I have that faith in my fitness that if I have to go into 3rd rounds, 4th rounds and 5th rounds, that I've been in worse positions with my fitness. They've put me in worse positions again. That I've been in them dark waters and I know that I can get through that, and I know that I can set a pace. I know that my recovery is good. So if I have to go 5 minutes, I know 1 minute's rest is plenty. I can go back out again, fresh again, My fitness hasn't really been tested yet, and I don't want it to be tested. I want to go and finish fights. I'm out there. I just like to put a pace on, finish a fight, and get out as quick as I can, without getting an injury. But the fitness, I mean, it's something that's the only thing you can control. Like, we're talking about that whole working hard, and in fighting, you can't control anything apart from your fitness. Like, I literally can't control anything. Like, I come out, and if he throws a head kick, and it hits me, so I can't control what he does, can I? The only thing I can control is how fit I am, so that if I do get into them dark waters where it's late in rounds, I'm not the one looking for a way out. And there's a saying, and I'll say it, and it's so true, cardio makes cowards of men. And I learned that from my coach. If you're starting to tire, you look for a way out. And it happens. Like, whatever, if that's any sport. Like, I'm sure it happens in football.
You see that in extra time in football, don't you?
Injury.
Yeah, of course.
Running a marathon, all of a sudden they pull out. Or in fighting, what happens is you're tired. You don't want to be there anymore. You don't want to be there.
You can see it in some people's body language as well when they're fighting, can't you? If they're getting battered for 2-3 rounds,
they look for a way out.
Fitness is gone.
Look for a way out.
Give the back. Yeah, you can see some of the stoppages though, like even when people have hit them. But when you've seen the replays, they're like, it didn't actually look like they've hit them that bad, but they've gone down, and then it's
people quit, and it's not that they're quitters in life. Some people are. Some people quit when it gets tough. Don't get me wrong.
Well, what you're in is obviously it's a difficult sport because it's dangerous, and I guess that fitness element does come into it.
Yeah.
But
like I say, cardio makes cowards of men, and you see that a lot, and that's what I don't want. So I actually have a fear of that more than anything. It doesn't matter we're losing a fight, it doesn't matter getting submitted, it doesn't really matter getting knocked out. Like, you go in there, you fight, you can't control what he does. But if you're not fit enough to be there, that's a completely different story. Do you know what I mean? If you're not fit enough, if you're coming out and you've got your hands down by your side and your mouth's open. If I see someone's mouth open, if I see like a mouth open, again, it's like cha-ching.
Yeah, of course.
Do you know what I mean? Because he's fucked.
And I think that a lot of that comes into maybe, again, like the ego side of things.
Yeah.
Thinking that, again, training, people might train for specific fighters and think, right, I'm going to finish him within 2.
Yeah.
So whether they train as hard as what they did
And
for the
don't
previous
put- yeah.
fight. And
that happens a lot with winning.
yeah.
They
And
start to think they're better than they are, and I wouldn't say that they think that they're owed something, but people start to let that get to their head. They're like, I've been winning, it's working, and
well, the foot comes off the gas.
exactly, something stops working. Where, like I said, man, that's not going to change for me. As soon I'll be back in Ireland next week, and I've already been planning. I've been doing conditioning while I'm here. Like I've already been given stuff to do while I'm here. I've been training very hard over the Christmas period, eating as well, so you put on your weight, but that'll be coming off, and I'll be back over there, and it's going to be hard, and I'm going to tell them, and then I always say to them, like, make it. I want to be feeling like that, because I know that the fight never feels that hard.
No.
Like, if you're in places where you can hardly breathe and you can't feel anything in your body, that's great, because I'd rather feel that then than in 8 weeks and then some motherfuckers punch me in the face as well.
Of course.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want it to happen.
No.
So, yeah, it's the only thing you can control. And I think I think it shows in sports. Like, you don't go very far in any sport if you're not fit, And again, like I was saying earlier with the football, like, you put that extra work in, even if you're like not the most gifted. You look like a hard worker, You look like Roy Keane probably wasn't the most gifted, but he was a workhorse, wasn't he? Like, he'd run. Gerrard was a workhorse and he was very gifted. Paul Scholes was as well. But
You've got to have people on your team like that, and I think
you have to, yeah.
But talk about now in terms of making weight for a fight. What's that like for you? Do you find that easy, or?
I wouldn't say it's easy, man. Like, it's probably the only stress I go through in my life. But
for some people that wouldn't necessarily know the process, what is the process of making weight for a fight?
Currently at the moment I'm about 12 kilos over, so that's maybe 2 stone.
Yeah.
8 weeks, easy. I'll lose it. Yeah, very simple. Yeah, man. Like
because when you scale it down to things, you say that 12 kilos. You look at people, not necessarily just women, but men as well, that are like, right, I want to lose a certain amount of weight over a longer period. I want to get healthy and stuff like that. How do you? Obviously, it's completely different, but how do you equate that?
To be fair, man, you can lose if you have the right diet and you have the right training program, you can change your life in 21 days. You can look a completely different person in 21 days. 3 weeks of eating properly.
So what's the process for you that you go through?
In terms of what, food or?
Yeah, food, making weight, in terms of obviously the fitness, the training element. Is it stepped up a notch?
Nah, well, I train all year round. That's my lifestyle. It's not my job, it's my lifestyle. And like I say, like 8 weeks out from a fight, maybe even 8 weeks is a bit hard, like soon. 6 weeks is when it really steps up, So the training obviously increases, but the food obviously can't decrease that much. You're only training 2 or 3 times a day. You can't be living off an egg.
Yeah.
And 3 pieces of broccoli and a chicken breast in the evening. It has to be good quality foods too, So I found something that really works well for me. So I live off a really high protein, high fat diet, and I can shed pounds quick, and I have energy for days. You know what I mean? I have a great energy. Like I can train 3 times, feel good, and I'm eating substantial amounts of food. I'm probably still eating about 3,500 calories a day. And I lose weight. I'm losing weight like that. The only real tough part is maybe like the 10 days before the fight, when I've got to lose maybe 7 kilos by then, and that's not hard. Like, your body's full of water, and your body's full of it stores water. Do you know what I mean? Your muscles are full of water. You obviously need to be lean, so obviously I make sure I'm around 10% body fat. And that's we monitor that. Like I said, we have the clippers and all that. But I'll then sort of cut my carbohydrates and my sugar and salt. And by cutting my carbs, sugar and salt, I pretty much release all the water from the cells in my body. Yeah. Slowly anyway. So any like retention I had, like water retention, that sort of goes. For every gram of carbs you eat, you tend to hold that times 3 to 4 in water. Yeah. So I stopped cutting carbs. I'll be 91 on a Friday, the week before the fight, 91 kilos. I'll probably stop the carbs on the Monday, By Thursday, I'm about 87
Mm.
kilos. And then what I'll do is I just go in the sauna and sweat the other 4.
Sweat it out.
3 kilos, yeah.
With the meals, when you're cutting the carbs, what do the meals look like? Are they still substantial sizes?
Green.
Yeah.
Fat and green, like.
Because most people, when they, that again, you could equate this to people that are, 2019, right? I want to lose a lot of weight in gym and stuff. They're all right, no carbs, 4 marbs, and all this.
All that, yeah.
You'll see that they'll have no carbs, but it'll be very, very small meals and very, very ridiculous in terms of what they're eating.
Like, it's the way you look at your food. It has to be a lifestyle. I don't think the word diet really exists.
100%.
Like lifestyle. So, like I have to suck it up for a week and. Not even a week, about 3 or 4 days without carbs, whatever. I can deal with that. That means 12 days of the year I have a shit time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever. But, by eating a minimal amount, you're fucking your body up. So, yeah, you lose loads of weight when you put your body, like, let's say, like, idiots are like, oh, I'm just going to have this, and they're probably eating under 1,000 calories. Even say, like, 1,200, whatever. Your body gets used to that.
Yeah.
Your body's like, okay, I'm only getting given this, so it stops working as hard. And then after their holiday, they go on this mad blowout and get fat again.
Yeah.
And it's because their body's now like working at 1,200 calories instead of when you could be putting. Like my body works at a ridiculous rate. Do you know what I mean?
And also, what some people don't understand is you need to work hard as well. You're not cutting weight and you're not working. You're doing a lot of work in the gym, so you need to refuel your body. Whereas a lot of people will do stuff at the gym and have
recovery is key.
Literally a salad of just leaves.
And do you know what I was going to say? A salad, like I don't even eat salad like as in what most people class a salad as. There's no nutritional value in a salad. My salad is about half a bag of spinach. That's a salad. That's a proper salad. Spinach, onion, tomato, maybe a little bit of cheese if I'm on good weight, drenched in olive oil.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's a salad. Spinach has some good properties to it. Lettuce has nothing.
Yeah, you got kale as well.
Kale,
nice
another good one. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah, kale. We made a salad yesterday, me and my girlfriend. It was fantastic. It was literally like a bag of spinach, drenched in olive oil, onion, cucumber for flavour, and then we basically got and some halloumi was thrown in there, but we got some broccoli. We cut that into small little mini trees, we call them.
Yeah.
And then garlic, and we fried that, so they were just crunchy, and put that in the salad. And Jesus, man, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And we had some chicken there as well. We put a chicken breast in too. But if I show like most people my diet and they saw the amount of fat I ate, they'd literally be like, nah, you can't do that. You can't do that. Like, at the end of the day, I believe a fat-based diet is the best one, like high protein, high fat. Like that's what we.
Well, it fuels the brain as well. High fat,
man, the fat,
so the brain functions massively.
Yeah, I mean,
having avocado is
omega-3.
Have an avocado on your salad.
Yeah,
whereas some people
actually,
now
there was
avocado because avocado is very high in fat.
Calories.
People,
look
at it and they
go,
oh, if I eat this one avocado on my salad,
I'll tell you what
I can't have anything else for the rest of the day.
I won't eat the avocado, which is so nutritionally dense. I'll drink the Diet Coke.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
At my desk at work.
Because the Diet Coke's 59 calories.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are very clueless when it comes to what they're putting inside their body. Like I treat myself sometimes. So we actually bought some Coke Zero today because it's Sunday and I want to drink a Coke Zero tonight. I think that's nice, but Diet and Coke Zero and all this is full of shit still. Like anything that's got like any sweeteners in it does the same. It does the same to the body that sugars does, So when you eat a bag of sweets, sugar spikes the insulin. You stop fat burning. You've got to deal with the sugar. Sweeteners do the same thing.
100%.
They still release a spike in insulin, which it doesn't now store as fat, but you stop your body burning fat now because it has there's a spike in it. A sweetener does that. There's no sugar in the calorie or there's no sugar in the Coke, but you still get an insulin spike from a sweetener, which doesn't mean you're putting on weight, but it doesn't mean you're losing it.
No,
so if you cut them Diet Cokes out and just drink water, watch how much more weight you'd lose. Eat the avocado times 10 and don't drink Diet Coke.
The avocado,
avocado is great for you.
Mate, we tried avocado pesto.
No, I have a nut allergy, and pesto's pine nuts. I can't eat pesto.
No, mate, it's a great recipe. What nuts can you have? Can you have
I can't
cashew?
eat nuts, no.
Oh, brilliant! You can have seeds though still,
Seeds,
right?
yeah.
So you can have so throw in an avocado in a blender,
Yeah.
like quarter cup of sunflower seeds, or you can use pumpkin
I like
seeds.
sunflower seeds.
Yeah, that's perfect. So light toast of the sunflower seeds, give them a sort of similar texture to the pine nuts. So a bit of that, a couple of like cloves of garlic, depends how much you like, and then just a bit of olive oil, and then some spinach and a little bit of basil. Blend it up, mate. It's unreal. Put that on the salad. Oh, mate, it's unreal. It's another way of getting the avocado as a disguise as well.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I do that sometimes. My missus used to go on Slimming World, which was obviously up to her, but sometimes I'd throw in, like in a salad, I'd throw in the avocado pesto.
Isn't an avocado bad on Cinnamon World? Isn't
it
it?
Is. Yeah. So that's what I'd throw it in the pesto form.
A yogurt sin better than the avocado because it's got less sins.
Yeah, I couldn't get my head around it, but
people do that.
I know, mate. And to be fair, I think it's difficult because obviously she's my girlfriend and stuff. She doesn't do it now, but obviously at the time you just got to support it and throw cheeky little ways in with the salads and stuff. Just making like a pesto.
I don't know if do you eat butter?
Nah. Peanut butter?
Probably can't do it peanut butter. I don't want to stick butter in my coffee. Coconut oil? Do you ever put coconut oil in your coffee? Blend it up?
No, I've seen it. But
good energy, man.
Yeah?
Jesus, man. Yeah, get like feel like, so you wake up instead of eating, so you never eat as well. Let's say you're in a rush. If I can't manage to get a meal in, and I've got to wait maybe 4 or 5 hours, tablespoon of butter, blend it up. It goes like a white coffee, but you're giving yourself a few hundred calories. That fat then is just it's energy and it's fuel. Do you know what I mean?
Interesting. I never.
And the key with fat is it keeps you fuller longer. Do you know what I mean? That's the problem with when people believe fat's bad for them. So the avocado is so much better than the yogurt because
you're not going to then
satisfy you.
Yeah. You're not going to then go and have another little treat 20-30 minutes later after the yogurt. It's going to be something that fills you up.
Because the avocado satisfies you, and you feel that. You can feel it in your energy, And the problem with the yogurts is, again, it's even if there's not that much sugar in it, it's still that whole up and down, and come 9 o'clock, you're wanting that sugar again because that's already worn off.
If you've had it in the morning, let's say if you've had cereal or if you've had coffees and you're lacing it with sugar, and then again you've had a snack which is laced with sugar, and then your lunch is sugar.
Just literally
you're always on you're on that wavelength,
down,
aren't you? Up and down, waiting for the next rush.
You're waiting for diabetes mate. That's what you're waiting for.
A little doctor's message just to say, by the way, mate, you're going to go on a program and sort yourself out.
There's not enough knowledge of what people are putting in their body, but it doesn't help with what people are putting on TV. Like, people are being told that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. I mean, yes and no, but I mean, cornflakes doesn't help you.
So it depends sometimes I don't have breakfast. I'll
fast.
Yeah, and it won't even necessarily be a fast. So every morning for the last 6 months, I have like a shot. So I basically have like a fresh ginger, lemon, like squeeze a lemon, just a little bit of water, and then I have cayenne pepper, cinnamon, and turmeric. Blend it up, and then that'd be my shot. And then I just have chlorella with
a lot of stuff there that's good for metabolic rate.
Yeah, iron, my magnesium as well in the morning, and brain function. And I normally have just chlorella with water, and then sometimes I throw in some spinach and kale and just blend that up. And that literally, and that would be like 200-300 ml drink, and then I won't eat until lunchtime. But like I say, I think a lot of people see stuff and are influenced by. Breakfast is the most important day, and even if it's these bars that are, like the cornflake bar or whatever they are now, they're laced with other stuff, and
they're all laced with shit.
Also, I don't think social media helps. Like sometimes with, like the influence. I think especially with more females, like the influencers, where you see that they've either gone on TV shows, and then all of a sudden now they're promoting. I don't know whether it is like. These detoxes and teas and whatever they are, or
take a shake instead of eating. Like, you can't beat food. Like supplements were there to do exactly that. Supplement your diet, not take over your diet.
Plus, food's definitely going to be one of the main sources that was here on Earth.
Yeah, long before that sugar powder was...
much more before someone could function a powder into a form of...
What's the best thing about that is everyone's on about these, they take these powders and they're like, okay, I'll do 2 shakes a day and I'll do 1 meal. I'll tell you what, I'm going to create the Mars bar diet. have a Mars bar in the morning, one in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and one meal, and you'll lose just as much weight.
Mm.
You can't, like, if you're restricting your calories to like that minimal,
Mm.
of course you're gonna lose weight.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And especially in the early stages, like you say, it's going to be a lot of water weight that people do lose. So they're like, fucking hell, buzzing. So then the first 6 days, it's easy for them. And then after that, they're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then they don't feel like they've got the energy when they actually are doing stuff because they're fucking used to...
It's just, I don't know, man. Look at it as like, can you live... Are you going to eat shakes for the rest of your life? Or do you want to have a varied, balanced diet and you're healthy and... You know, the key is not to just be a pig in the off season. You know, like, okay, you want to look great for your holiday, well then don't come back and be smashing the McDonald's 7 days a week. You know.
So I think it's a whole link to everything, isn't it? Like the amount of time I've had this conversation with people, and it's like, yeah, but you don't understand. I'm working in the city. I'm getting a train at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's always like it's always a form of an excuse. Like I've been working this, so yeah. Well done, man. Are you working Saturday, Sunday? No. Okay, we'll spend 2 hours. Or have a power hour, which is an hour of you just making food for the week, or making lunches for the week, or making snacks.
If you live in a city or you work in the city, nowhere serves an omelette. No one does like meat and veg.
But they'll use it. A lot of people will use it. It's just, my boss won't let me go out, or my work's so busy that I can't get out at lunch. So
you should not work there. If your boss doesn't let you have a break, then
no. Again, that's what I mean. And
no, you are right. People, it's just.
I think it forms into a whole massive ball of excuses.
People who are not actually happy with their life will say that. They'll be like, you don't know what it's like and blah blah.
Yeah.
It's because, like, obviously they see the damage it's doing to them physically and mentally, and it's now they're like just trying to like make it okay to you. Like, no, I'm not doing this, doing it. Like, you know, like you need to. I could do that, but a lot of people would be like they would just be like, you don't. They make excuses for themselves, you know, which they will do and. Realistically, they need to be like, right, okay, I do need to do something about it, you know, like I need to take action on my life. Otherwise, what happens is you're just going to be a shadow of your former self. In 6 months' time, you're not going to be that person you used to be, you know. And people use excuses. People are unhappy. They know they're unhappy, but they try and use the excuse to make you see that, like, you don't know what it's like. You don't know, like,
you're not in my job.
You didn't have to do that.
Your boss is not shouting.
You get trained 3 times a day. Of course you lose weight. Well, yeah, but
I've had that. Yeah, for sure.
What do you mean?
That's all right for you. You're out. You'll do it. You're active. Like, and I just think, well.
But you can't outwork a bad diet. Like, I can put on weight if I eat shit. I can put on weight. Like, it's hard for me sometimes when I've got to teach maybe 4 lessons in a row. Where do I get my food in? But I don't go and fucking grab a sandwich or a can of Coke and a bag of crisps and a chocolate bar. I'll go and get like maybe some fruit or. A pack of meat, or maybe I won't get nothing. I just get a fucking black coffee and stick a load of cream in it. You know? Like,
sometimes that's not associated. I think with people that are like, oh well, do you know what I mean? I've just had a bad day at work. I'm just gonna go and have like a McDonald's, or I'm just gonna go and have. Yeah, comfort. It is comfort, and again, it is within the forms of those foods, isn't it? Like,
and there's a time and a place for it. There's a time and place.
For sure.
I love eating food, and Sundays, me and my girlfriend, we like live by the law that calories don't count.
Yeah.
And I'd work hard, I eat well 6 days a week, and if I'm not having a cut weight, I'm gonna enjoy some food.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I'm gonna treat myself. You know, but that doesn't mean like every day I hit the sofa, watch my Love Island, and smash a bag of Doritos or something.
Yeah,
you know, or
sure.
a fucking bag of a biscuit box or whatever. You know, like self-discipline. It's going out the window, but that's what you need. You need a bit of control. You need to realise that you need to not get comfortable. But again, like we're saying, you need to realise that these steps that you take every night, eating these biscuits in 6 months' time, you're not going to be who you like. Do you know what I mean? And then once you start hating yourself, you end up hating the world, and then you're giving everyone problems, you know?
Yeah. Question I wanted to ask you, do you feel like mixed martial arts should or could be involved in a school's curriculum from a young age, and if so, what would be the benefits of that for the kids, not only the physical state but the mental side of maybe pressures in school, or like you said, maybe transfer into your normal daily life? What do you think?
I don't think maybe mixed martial arts I think martial arts, so I'd say jiu-jitsu 100%.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say striking. I wouldn't allow kids to be striking each other in classes. But I believe like grappling can can build so much confidence in kids. And I know now in London there's a few schools that actually have jiu-jitsu as a curriculum.
Okay.
In the States they have it. They have wrestling and jiu-jitsu's getting into a lot of it. And it's starting to come this way now. I tried to do it at the Gilbert School, and it's you sort of get laughed out the door, you know. But it will. I believe it will happen, you know. Like it will come about. It's a sport where there's too many pros to it. Like you get hurt playing any sport, so that's the issue with schools is the insurance and kids getting hurt. But you play football and get hurt in the playground. But again, it's a sport where it's in a controlled environment. If something hurts, you get to tap. You get the opportunity to tap, and like for kids, building confidence is the best thing. And if it be curriculum or is selected for certain kids to do after school, which that's how I try to do it. I said, like, why don't you select kids from each year group that you think would benefit from more confidence and do it like that. I think like we're saying about like it weeds people out. I think if you've got all these egomaniacs, and I don't think you get it too much in schools, but there's always like the person who thinks they're tough. All of a sudden they will come unstuck. Like when there's a smaller person who's able to beat them, you know, and they'll probably be deterred from the sport. They'll probably leave it and not want to better themselves. You know, they'll go back to being the tough guy in the playground. You know, but I think there's so many benefits for it, you know. And there's a teacher that from the Gilbert, he brings his son to the club, and he was really trying to press it in there, like trying to you know, let's get it into the school. But they pretty much laughed him out the door, like you know, you're not going to get it in, you know. But I do know in London it has started in London. There's 2 schools that have it.
Are they doing it as like a trial, or is it as a?
I don't know actually. I just know that it's been put into schools in London, a couple of schools in West London, I think, and they get to do it as part of their PE session. You know, it's a sport, so why not?
It's a sport, and like you say, the confidence in
that you can build,
that you can build, and you don't. I guess when you're starting out, like at a particular age, you don't know if you're going to be good.
No,
really,
you don't never know. No, there's no
especially
signs
for that.
Good,
like football, maybe I guess from a younger age, even in schools, maybe rugby. From a young age, some kids get deterred because it's like, right, well, you know, I don't think I can kick a ball and stuff, but you don't really know.
You don't know because that's the beauty about this sport. I'm going to say it, but it seems like you're going on about. I feel like I'm going loads on about jiu-jitsu, but it is for everybody. It doesn't matter if you're overweight, underweight, small, tall. You find your own way with it, you know. Like everyone's game's different, and it doesn't matter who you are. It works for everyone, you know. I think even if you're very unathletic, you can still take to it. Do you know what I mean? You still take away certain things, and it's great for confidence, but it's great for your body as well. You get strong. You do get strong, you know. And there's a reason that the United States are leading the way with like, not maybe I'd say combat sports as well, but like there's a reason why they're winning like wrestling and stuff. Like they do it from a kid. Like,
I was gonna say wrestling's massively part.
I don't even know why I said wrestling. All sports they're just pushed into doing. Like they really push their. Like if you're good at the sport, you do that. Do you know what I mean?
They are pushed. I remember working there and we at a team training. Now it must have been under 9 girls, and one of the parents come up to me before the first session and was like, "You see my daughter over there?" He's like, "I want you to push her." And he's like, "If she starts going off, he's like, you push her." He's like, "I know what she can get up to. I know what her limits are like. Push her and work her. She'll be fine." So I was like, "Fucking hell, alright, mate."
It's a different mindset.
And literally, he was right. Like she needed, she was 9 and she needed like pushing. Like that was her. She was at a level where she could go much more, and I had to do extra stuff in training and push her. You know, there was kids there that were struggling to do the standard stuff, but she needed that work. And if you don't get like here, I think you get a little bit of motherly cuddling from parents sometimes, and you're like,
and the schools.
Yeah.
If you know, okay, I don't want to do PE. Oh, okay, don't do it then.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? You can go and have a safe time.
Yeah. Mate, the PE in schools now is obviously working with Co United for years. The PE in schools is such an easy get out for kids now.
Oh, it's a joke.
You can say little things like, my weight. So a lot of things now with schools got to be careful of how they disclose weight with parents. Yeah, with parents. And also there's other stuff as well in terms of the health side of stuff with kids now. There's a lot of kids in schools that are having like diabetes and are having other issues. Schools are so careful with it because they don't want to get done. They don't want to have a trouble of a parent knowing a bit of knowledge and going, right, we're going to sue you, or you know, this is so.
Well, I think in the States, they might be a similar issue, but they really do endorse sports, don't they? Like, they're doing they have fucking massive college events, like basketball arenas full. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like arenas full for college kids to watch basketball and fucking.
Was it
soccer, whatever they do?
Penn State, I think. Penn State Uni, I think it was maybe 90,000 capacity for American football.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's ridiculous. That's
like college here.
Yeah.
Can you imagine sixth form here hosting 90,000 people for a football match?
I mean, no.
But I see, in terms of, I don't know, maybe here that we are massively behind on that scale in terms of pushing people. I don't say pushing,
not
but
pushing that. I think sports
showing
are a great
the potential.
Outlet,
showing the potential of what sport can actually bring to people. Like you said,
and happiness.
Yeah. Well, you started out in football, and if you would have said if you used to go to Co United now and say to a kid who's maybe 11, 12 years old, mate, you're going to be a potential,
anything
UFC champion, or you're going to be a potential basketball player in the NBA, or switching sports. They'll be like, nah, don't understand it. But sport is such a great tool that it can do that. But
and even if you don't want to pursue sport, again, it's just that release. Exercise releases endorphins. You feel happy, you feel good about yourself. You'll probably then be happier if let's say you're really good at maths and you have to get out once or twice a week and do something different and do sport. You probably enjoy your maths better because you're getting something. If you're just drilling that shit constantly, I suppose it gets like anything. If you're doing anything, even sport too much, it gets a bit too much. I have days when I'm like, fuck this, it's too much. But
I think also as well, there's another point that if you enjoy any type of sport, it can be literally from the bone sense of running, netball, basketball, and you don't pursue it as a career. When it does come to that job that maybe you don't like as much, if you have something else that you are into, it might be, right, I hate my job, but I make time for 40 minutes a day to go running after work. Then, like you're saying, you're relaxing that mind much more through that 40 minutes or whatever you're doing, or that basketball game if you're playing five-a-side football with a men's team, or walking football. If you're involved in sport in some form, there is that little bit of release from that area of your life where it is shit, or you're not enjoying it. So it's massive, and I think that has to be, whatever the case may be.
Honestly, I think if anyone thinks that, if any parent or any teacher or any school believe that kids should be able to make excuses for it, I think that's the kids failing. I think that's the school failing and the system failing. I don't think there's any reason that kids should not be indoors playing. They shouldn't be able to, why would you set a kid up to fail by giving him what he doesn't want to do sport? Why would you allow him that, to think that he has that privilege to even be able to dictate his life? Then he goes into, it's actually what's wrong with the world. You go into life believing you're owed something, and you say, I don't want to do this, and all of a sudden, you don't have a job, and you're hating the world, and then you're protesting that you want to be non-binary. I'm not saying it comes like that, but you keep giving these privileges to people to say no to stuff. They're the ones that when they get into the real world and they're told, no, this is how it is, they have a mental breakdown. They don't, and then they cry, and the people are getting, I don't know, let off work because of, I don't know. You hear about it and you see it, how whipped this world got. You can't say anything anymore. Do you know what I mean? Everything, you can't say nothing because it offends someone, and that's where it comes from. It comes from as a kid being allowed everything you want, either through parents or through the schools now. And if the schools are now letting kids just get away with not be able to do that, that reflects in their life. And they're like, I don't want to do that. Well, you have to do that.
For sure. And because you're in school for such a long period of your childhood, like you're saying, it's a big system. And it can even be little things from doing different sports at a younger age. But even like you're saying, you can't say anything now that offends someone. Like in America, they have it, don't they? It's like a debate team where they have like debates in classes and stuff. But even that, in a sense, you're used to someone having a different opinion to what you have, and you're going back and forth in an environment which is safe and you can actually have an argument.
Yeah.
Whereas now what you're seeing is a lot of people just have an opinion, and it's either forced down someone's throat. If you don't like
Isn't
it,
Yeah.
it's wrong.
It's wrong.
Or you don't like it, then it becomes into a massive argument, and then other things come into play. Like, you know, people then start going on about their parents from the argument, or it start, you know, going into race or whatever.
It's because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
It's because of anything. Yeah. It just becomes anything.
Because we're not used to actually having a debate now, especially with your phones. It's so easy to go and, you know, when you're at school or whatever, or switch off. You don't have that engagement with people, and you don't have an actual, all right, yeah, you believe in this.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe in it, but I can understand your view on it, and you know, that's fine.
Yeah, I actually understand a lot of things, and there's certain things I dislike, and to be honest with you, I can let most people do what they want to do, but what I don't like is like people that think they're owed something, and I find that the people that are always like giving out and finding something to moan about are the people that now like were like maybe silver spoon fed, like they were given like everything to them, and now when they really hit that peak when, you know, they don't deserve, like the world doesn't just give you what you deserve, you work for it, you know. And like I said, people, you know, they don't get what they want out of life, and all of a sudden they just cause problems for everyone else, and you know, you're then trying to address them and say, sorry mister, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, how can you assume my identity, you know? And that's where that shit comes from, you know.
Well, I believe, like you were saying earlier, going back to the discipline and the training, obviously, that you do, I think that it comes a time, like you're saying, whether it's you've been silver spoon fed all the way from 5 years old to 16 years old, and then when you actually do get into the real world, it's like, fuck, you're there. Because
shit.
I haven't done
what happened, and then like,
my mate was doing, or my mate was doing a paper round to get 15 quid a week, but I was getting 50 quid a week for my pet. Like, there comes a point where eventually someone's not necessarily ahead of you, but someone is more switched on to the real world because they've got up at 6 a.m. before school, done a paper round in the dark, and it's pissing down a rain.
I think
every morning for 15 or whatever it is.
Films dictate that as well. They show you that. Like, look at Step Brothers, for instance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's exactly that.
Yeah, for sure.
Two people that's a great film. Completely great
Can't
film.
wait for the new
one.
one.
That's a brilliant film. But like, it literally is showing that like people think that way. Like, oh, like, you know, like 2 40-year-olds sit at home, and when you're gonna get a job, like, oh, you know, I'm gonna go into the family business. Like, they think they're owed something.
Yeah, for sure.
That is literally the world we live in, and I think these films are literally taking the piss out of it because it is so true now. You know, people don't get what they want. They get told this is what they have to do, and they cause a fucking fuss and sue someone, and it's because of this. And literally, I just think that you see it in like films now. Comedies are made out of like what is actually going on. Do you know what I mean?
Well, when you break it down like that, it is actually scary. Because that is what is going on. But it goes over a lot of people's heads, but it's one of them things. Getting back onto obviously on topic with yourself, what's next for you?
Some big news, man.
Yeah.
So I get to fight again March 2nd for Cage Warriors again in London, and I'm not sure where I'll be fighting, like as in where on the card, but I know that it'll be for the world title. So.
Brilliant news.
I'm ecstatic, man. It actually makes me get goosebumps thinking about it. Yeah, like, get the opportunity to be a world champion, you know, like a very, very big show. And again, like, that's something that I've been seeing for a long time, you know, world champion. And again, like, if nothing else ever happens in my life and I just become a world champion, it's something that I'll be forever proud of, you know, like, no one will ever be able to say that I wasn't. I'll be known as a world champion forever, you know, and I worked hard for that, you know, and it's sort of like, it's not there yet. It's not set in stone to be a world champion, but I have full faith that I'll be winning that. Do you know what I mean? And I'll get that. But in 8 weeks' time, I'll have that belt, you know. Maybe I'll come back in 8 weeks today and show you it, you know, because I'm definitely going to get it. And then, like I said, it's another thing ticked off the to-do list. And then there'll be another goal. Always goal setting, because without that constant like pursuit of greatness, you're just going to settle and like plateau and hit that wall. And so after I get that belt, I'll be looking to fight wherever, whoever, but I want to start then fighting the best guys in the world, and I want to start fighting in the States, and then it's going to be, once they get ticked off the list, open the gym and you know. So yeah, next fight, massive news, really big news. It's going to be a big show, London, the O2. I love that. Like it starts to feel more like home now, you know.
Yeah.
And then once I get that world title, we'll go on to some more great stuff, you know. And just if I could look at my life like anything, it'd be like a book, you know. And I think one thing I've always done is what I wanted to do, and once my life's done and my fight career's done and my coaching career's done and I've had kids and grandkids, I think I'm gonna have a pretty interesting book, you know. And that's how I'm seeing it. Like if someone's writing a book about my life, I want people to read it, you know. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. So build a legacy, world champion, come out of a small town and give hope that it can happen to anyone, you know.
Yeah.
Anyone to do anything, you know, like whatever you want to do, whether it be business or sports or anything, you could do it if you believe it, put your mind to it, and set them goals.
Yeah.
You know? Set them goals.
Once you get that world championship, the next thing on the agenda is,
I mean, defend it maybe, or potentially sign to the biggest show in the world, which would be the UFC, you know. And again, like, I remember setting goals to say I want to sign to Cage Warriors. That was a dream come true, and I'm not stopping setting goals until I complete them all, you know. So like I said, like, the UFC will happen maybe this year. I think I'll be a world champion this year, you know. I'm pretty confident of that. I think there's a possibility that I'll sign to the UFC this year as well. And then pursue greatness. That's what it is. Pursue the greatness.
Where does the next goal setting and the next ambitions and stuff come from you? Is it something you've always had, or is it as you developed, as you've got older, or as you've got or you've reached new goals? Is it something that you go, okay, right, this is clearly working, I think continue to do it?
I just always had this like vision that I was always going to do. I just always felt, even as a youngster, that I just felt that I wasn't here to just work.
Yeah.
Do you know, or to do normal. I don't think anything in my life's ever been normal, so I never thought I'd just be normal. And I've always wanted to, like, I like being in front of people, you know, and I didn't really realise that until I found the sports I was going into. And then it was just those small targets. Like, I wanted to be the best at Essex at my weight, the best in Essex at my weight. I did that. Then you want to be the best in the South East at your weight. Then you want to be the best in England at your weight. Then you do that. Then you want to be the best in Britain. And then you do that. And it was these constant small goals that just led to this one. I didn't set out to say I'm going to be in the UFC or I'm going to be a world champion in MMA, never. But I just set these small goals which were always in reach of each other. You know, if I said from the beginning I want to be British champion, maybe would I have got there? I don't know. Maybe I would have, but would I have got there where I you know, when you've put like these little stepping stones in place, I believe you tick it off, next thing, and that's all that's happened now. And now I'm at this place where I'm in a great position where I really believe like my whole life can change around, turn around everything, like for the better. Like I have an amazing life now, but I can give myself the best life that I can envision myself, you know, with these next few goals ahead, you know. And once they've been achieved, and you know, it will be goal setting. Once you get to them once you start getting to these real high levels, the goals become almost smaller. Do you know what I mean? You're looking for like the smaller goals within them. Because you know, you can't set massive goals. The level's so high, then where do you go from there? So you set smaller goals, you know, and then after that, the fight career is done. I suppose I start again, you know. I'll start again, and it'll be as a gym owner or a coach, and it'll be to promote or to build the best fight team in Essex or wherever I'm based. Then it'll be to build the best fight team in England, Britain, Europe. And then, of course, the end goal will be to have the best fight team in the world one day. You know, imagine that. Like, if you can become a world champion, if you can see that and slowly build towards that, then there's no saying in 30 years' time I could be one of the best coaches in the world as well.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, just little stepping stones, and see him all in my head as well, you know, like, and I'm not thinking about coaching now, so I'm not talking about any of that.
Yeah.
But I see everything in my head, and I'm seeing in 8 weeks' time I'm going to win that belt, and I'm going to have that belt, and I see that, and I know that if I can see it, I can hold it in my hand.
Do you just tick that off once you've done it? Do you
Once
tick
it's
it
done,
off
it's ticked
mentally,
off.
or do you have it like on a board?
On the board, it's going to be ticked off too.
Yeah,
ticked off on the board and mentally, and then I'm just gonna, you know, that will again, that'll be just something that will be forever with me, and it will be like, I know I'm going to be world champion. So
yeah,
yeah,
that's it.
Let's do it.
Brilliant. What? Just to wrap this up, what would you say to people listening that are in a position where maybe they're not enjoying their life work, not enjoying sport, whatever it is? What would you say to give them a little bit of inspiration? Well, not even necessarily just inspiration. Give them a little bit of hope that they can get out of what they're in and maybe
I mean, I
enjoy
think
their life a bit more.
If you enjoyed it before, there's always that thing of it coming back. Anything can be like, you know, like relationships can be putting you off your work life. You know, I think you need to figure out what's going wrong with your life first. Like, well, there might be nothing going wrong. You know, that's looking at it harshly, but you need to take a look at what is wrong and what's not motivating you, and you either try and fix it or you get rid of it. You know, there's no like. You know, if it's a relationship, you try and fix it. If it's work, you try and do things to make your work life better for you, you know. But if it's really not working for you and you're really miserable, you know, there's no point in getting up miserable. Once you're miserable, the vibes you're giving off are miserable. And then, and you're probably, I don't know, I mean, I know certain people, right? If I ask them how they are, they're like, oh yeah, you know, I'm alright. I've been a bit under the weather. They're always under the weather.
Yeah.
Do you know that? Like they're always ill.
Yeah.
You're always ill because you're always telling yourself you're ill.
Yeah.
Like, I can't remember the last time I was ill. Well, you know, I had a little spell over Christmas, but I was still in the gym and I was still working and I was trying to be positive about it, you know. And I remember saying to myself, I'd rather be ill now than when it comes to the fight camp. That's how I was looking at it. Like, I'm getting this out of the way for the fight camp to be great. You know, like there's always ways to look at things, and I think the way you look at the world and the way you view it, a lot of things determine like your outlook and your happiness. And if something is really that miserable to you, cut it. Do you know what I mean? Cut it, and you know, do something that makes you happy. You know, whether it be like you're not happy with the sport you're playing or your work life. You know, there's plenty of jobs out there, or and sports as well. You know, like there's hundreds of sports. Or if you're not doing anything, go and try something. You know, if you're really unhappy with your work life, maybe go and try and take up an event or a sport in the evening, and give yourself something to look forward to instead of the sofa and a can of Coke and a bag of crisps. You know, you need to just start trying new things and seeing what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And you know, sports might not work for you, but I don't know, maybe bingo does, or salsa does, or Zumba does, yoga does.
I think that's the great message, is try something, or try something anything, different, you know? That might take fancy that you might not have thought would do if you were younger, maybe, or even if you are younger and you think, right, I'm cutting one sport. So it's a good message to have. So thanks for coming. I look forward to seeing you with a title in 8 weeks' time, and seeing you even later on with the UFC title, mate.
That's the aim, definitely. We're going to push towards that. We'll
appreciate it.
That, definitely.
Top man for
coming
coming
very much, man. Thank you.
That's all right.
Cheers, bro.
Thanks for listening in, guys. That was James Webb on the Harris Health and Mind podcast. Hopefully you've taken something positive from today's podcast, whether that be using vision boards or setting yourself a discipline to progress yourself moving forwards. Stay tuned for more positive podcasts to follow. Follow James on social media and check out his next coming fight. It's going to be a huge one. Stay tuned. Peace.